Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Investor Lab, the auditory epicenter for passionate people seeking a life of freedom, choice, and abundance. And on today's show, we are doing another little episode of the Humans of Dashdot. So Dashdot, if you don't know, is the business behind the podcast. So the Investor Lab podcast we produce to give away loads of free, valuable and enriching advice, guidance, thinking paradigms, strategies, all of that kind of stuff, because we want to contribute and give back to the world. The business that allows us to do that and gives us the ability to do that is Dashdot. And so for those of you who don't know, Dashdot is a strategic investment company, and we help our clients to build scalable, profitable property portfolios. And we want to we want to share with you some of the amazing humans that are in this business and making real change in people's lives and really doing work that matters for people who care, which is super, super important. So on today's show, we've got Lana Grayson. She is an acquisition manager at Dashdot. We dig into her background and her story, touching on, how she developed the passion for property in the first place, how she was helping her mom, who was a bit of a flipper, and all of this kind of stuff, and really great background there, and kind of going through a journey, which, for Lana wasn't, went in a few different areas. She all went into the kind of off the plan and development side of the business, and is now with Dashdot. We kind of dig into some of the habits and rituals she has to stay on track and what her vision for success is as well. So there's some really cool stuff in there. I know you're going to love it. So without any further ado, let's get stuck right into it. But before we do, make sure you like, rate, review, share, subscribe, give this to a family member or a loved one. And that's all from me. Let's get stuck right into it, and I'll see you on the inside. Welcome back to the Investor Lab. Joining me today is another human of Dashdot, one of the many people inside this amazing organization that is delivering great results and great experiences to property investors all across Australia. Today, joining me is Lana Grayson. Lana, how are you?
Hi, Goose. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I enjoy every opportunity I get to hang out with you. So it's really nice to spend a little bit of time with you today. So for those of the people who are listening who don't know who you are, it'd be really good just a quick little introduction. What's tell us a little bit about who you are. Tell us what do you do at Dashdot? Why are you here today?
Yeah, for sure. So hi everyone. My name is Lana. I am a property acquisition manager at Dashdot. So essentially, my job in a nutshell would be I want to find the best possible property for our clients, and I want to make that as streamlined as possible.
Yeah, awesome. Good summary. So I'm interested to kind of go a little bit back. Now, I know that you maybe don't want to go too far back ago, but how did you get into property? Like, let's start. Where did you grow up? Like, what's the backstory? How did you end up in this time and place right now?
So I grew up in the suburbs of Melbourne. I currently live in Sydney now, but grew up in Melbourne. Had an awesome childhood actually, which was kind of fun. We were one of the pack of kids on the block sort of thing, and everyone used to ride their bikes around, which was awesome. But in terms of property, I really got the interest from my mum, and I have a funny story about her because she's a bit funny, but mum would always drag me to open for inspections. She'd always be buying and flipping houses, having a few investment properties herself. So I sort of got my initial interest from her. And it's actually quite funny. There's a rolling joke in my family that mum went for a walk one day and bought the family house that my parents currently live in. And so it's a rolling joke in my family. Whenever mum takes dogs for a walk, we're like, "Do you have your checkbook?" Which I don't know if anyone even has checkbooks anymore, but
yeah, that's actually really funny, because the first property that Gabby and I bought, which was, we always talk about it as the wrong property, wrong place, wrong time, we bought all of that kind of stuff. The honest and the true story about how we ended up with that is it was a Sunday, and we were sitting around bored, and we were like, "Oh, you know what? Let's go for a little bike ride." Hey, we see there's like some, like those display apartment setups. So we're like, "Oh, let's just go for a little bike ride. Let's just go have a look at a few of those." And then we went into one of them that we went into. the guy just got his hooks in, and then before we knew it, we'd bought the place. Like we just
signing on the dotted line.
Totally. We went out for a bike ride on a Sunday and ended up with an off the plan apartment. We were like, whoa, okay, well, that was I can kind of see how that had happened. So.
And those suites are always so comforting and inviting and modern and stunning. And because I used to work in that space. So I used to work with the team that would design, how do we make this the most inviting place possible that people want a coffee, have a chat, buy an apartment.
Oh, yeah. You can see yourself there and you're like, oh, my God, isn't this going to be great? So okay, so your mum was kind of like the main, was she kind of the main, did she have property
Pretty
fever?
much.
Was she the mum?
Yeah, she had total property fever. She, it just sort of snowballed from there, just really being interested in it, would always spend time on like real estate and domain as a kid and see properties. And I don't know, that's probably quite dorky to say that, but
isn't that what you do now? Like, isn't that, you always tell me like, hey Lana, I'm like, hey Lana, what'd you do on the weekend? You're like, just cruised around on domain, looking at properties.
Just looked around, just seeing what, I do that a lot actually, but I think it definitely came from my mum and having, she was just always quite interested in property and flipping and investment properties. I remember one of she had a unit in Box Hill in Melbourne and she refused to pay a trade to renovate it. So on the weekends we would go over there as kids and she'd give us jobs. So
awesome.
we'd be pulling up the nails on the floorboards ready for the sander to come in on the next day. And, we'd get like $1 a nail or something.
Yeah, nice. So, nice. Did you learn a lot through that experience? Like, was she successful at flipping? And did you what did you learn through that process? Because that's a pretty cool experience to be able to actually sort of, although you were a kid and stuff, but to get hands on in that process and to actually be a participant in it, that's pretty cool.
It definitely cemented an interest, that's for sure. But and it also sort of showed you the value, watching mum, she only did it a few times, but it was an interesting process. And I think you definitely learned, the value of $1 and the value that property can have in a journey. That was really interesting. I liked it. Very lucky to have that experience as well.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so did that? I'm interested because I didn't have any of that kind of stuff in growing up. But at what point did you know that you wanted to have a career in property? Like, how did did you always want to do this, or?
Yeah, I worked from that, during uni, I worked for a real estate agency in Melbourne. So, and I really got really interested in property from that side, and that's more of the established market, which I then fell into the off the plan market. I'll go through that in a second. But I got an interest from that, and then I just think it was more of a hobby for me. It was like, oh, this is really fun, because I just saw it as a side hobby, not so much a career. But yeah, I think it was definitely something that cemented an interest. And then when I found that, I can put my hobby, my interest in property and actually practice that as a job, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. So at what point did that happen? Like, because I'm specifically interested, did you go straight into property out of school, or what was there? Was there a transition period? Did you when did the switch flick and you went, oh wait, now I can actually blend these two together? Was there a gap? What happened there?
So worked, had it as a hobby during uni. So during uni did that, and then sidetracked a little bit for a few years into more of a what I thought it was more of a creative space, and then sort of steered back into property, and then worked for a property development and project marketing group for about 5 years before I came to Dashdot. So that was a really amazing job to see, because I had only known the established market from working in real estate, and then going into the off the plan market was really different. The way of thinking of something, you can't take a photo of a house and put it on a brochure and sell it. You have to, when you're selling off the plan, you have to create that product, and you have to create that feeling of what that product resonates. So it was a really interesting process to work with them for so many years, and I learned so much throughout that process.
What are some of the biggest lessons you learned through that process? Because obviously it's wildly different to what you're doing now with Dashdot. But I'm interested, like, what are the some of the biggest lessons you learned during the 5 years of working in the kind of off the plan project marketing kind of space?
Oh God, I learned so much. I think it was a very corporate environment. So it was very, suit up, very corporate. We're dealing with a range of scaled of developers. So, we had multiple international developers that would just fly in for a meeting, want an update, and then leave. And then we'd have the local guys that, had a smaller site or a smaller medium density site that were just lovely, and all they want to do is have a coffee and have a chat. So I think learning how different people operate was really interesting, because it's not so much it's their time that you have to value and work towards what they want, because it is a service-based industry essentially. So I think that was quite interesting. But yeah, no, learned heaps, and I was really lucky. I got to work across such a scale of projects. So the company I used to work for had about 50 projects in Melbourne, had about 20 projects in Queensland, and now they've just moved into Adelaide as well. So it was really good experience all round.
Yeah. And how does it compare to what you're doing now? And I know that there's a potential for you to give a kind of a coloured answer, because we obviously work together and stuff. But
you're my boss.
Well, I'm interested. They're kind of like they're polar opposite sides of the industry, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm interested. Are there any comparisons? Like, are there any similarities, or what's some of the key differences, or what are some of the benefits or drawbacks? Or I'm interested to just kind of look at what the difference is from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're vastly different companies, different, essentially different ethoses to both sides. But the main reason I did want to change, make that change and make that leap, was I had learned everything I thought I could learn out of that, and I think I wanted to take a different path and a more I don't know, just a different path that I can really see the results, versus an off the plan investment journey. You have to wait years and years and years, traditionally negatively geared. And I thought that was the way to go. I thought, okay, this is what you do. To have an investment property, you got to put money in, and you let it grow, and you take about $50 a week or $100 a week out of your wage. But I think opening up to different methods of how to invest was really interesting. And I think you only know what you know at that point in time. So I think that was quite interesting. But the ethos of what I've learned from Dashdot and applying my previous knowledge, everything has totally changed in that instance. And seeing how to do it better is a way to answer your question.
Well, what are some of the, or maybe I'll rephrase it differently. What are some of the new things or paradigm shifts that you've had since started working here, Dashdot?
Ooh. Yeah, I think it's more of a positive environment. It's not because with that corporate environment, it was quite, you're at work at 8, leave when you finished your work, all that sort of thing. But I think it's a lot more relaxed, a lot more friendly, the environment, which is a lot more inviting.
Yeah, cool. So I'm interested then, like, what major life event or what sort of sliding doors moment has most shaped who you are today?
Look, I can't pinpoint it to one particular event. I think life is a series of different moments. And I mean, that's just my experience. I haven't had that, oh my God, penny dropped, next day I'm going to change my life. But I think, the experience you have in life, you create who you are, and all those little things that you learn along the way, whether they're a failure or a success or whatever they might be, shapes you to who you are, and then how you approach a challenge or a bottleneck, or, I think that there's not one, I can't pinpoint it to one particular moment.
Fair enough. And if you could wind the clock back 10 years, right, and go, or if you could actually travel back in time 10 years and go and speak to your younger self 10 years ago, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh gosh, to buy heaps and heaps of property. Oh gosh, yes, just to not go to Europe and spend a crazy amount of money and just come back with nothing. But
surely Europe is good though. Surely the memories are good.
Yeah. No, and we're so lucky that I'm so lucky that I can have those choices and those experiences, which is amazing. But I think because I did have an investment property in Melbourne. I've sold it, but I was weighing up between buying an apartment or buying a unit, and went for the apartment because the apartment was cooler and it was more modern and it had a car park. And it was cool, and versus a unit. And I look back on that, I'm like, land appreciates, buildings depreciate.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was everything is a learning curve, and that's how you refine and improve, I guess.
Yeah. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because I obviously get to speak to a lot of property investors like you do as well. But like one of the kind of concerns that people often have is, surely property prices can't keep going up, or they have uncertainty about the future. Basically, is the point.
Yep.
But then it's kind of like, if you could go back to 1990, how many properties would you buy?
Yeah.
Like the answer universally is all of them. It's like you just buy all of them. You do whatever you can, just buy them all, right? So yeah, it's a kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was having this conversation with my mum and her best friend a few months ago. I was in Melbourne for something, and they were telling me how they bought their first house for 35 grand, 32 sold it, bought one around the corner for 38 grand, and I'm thinking, why did you not buy all of them and keep them and then now be a mogul? But it's just, it is that moment in time. I think, they also said, there wasn't any competition. So it wasn't, and you were lucky if you were able to sell your house at that point. So I don't know, it's all relative.
100%. Yeah, 100%. What, in the last 5 years, what habit, belief, or behavior has most improved your life?
So every single morning, you have to start the day how you want the day to go. So do something in the start of the day that makes you positive, puts a smile on your face, and makes, it'll set the tone. And for me, that is, I'm pretty simple. I just love taking my dog to the beach, taking him for a walk, getting a coffee, sitting in the sun, half an hour max, and then come home. And that is just you have to do something to start your day that has positivity. You can't just roll out of bed and roll into work. You've got to have a break. You've got to do something.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask if you have any habits or rituals that help you to stay kind of aligned and moving towards your goals and all of that kind of stuff. But is that kind of it there? Go for a walk or something? Do you do anything else? Do you do any journaling, or do you have any other kind of like little tips and tricks that keep you on track?
Not particularly. I used to love Pilates reformer, but with lockdown I haven't been able to do that. But yeah, I think that is my ritual. That is, I need that. I need to do that in the morning, and if I don't, I get super cranky. At 3:00 I'll just crash and burn. I'll eat packet of snakes or something. It's not good. So, and I know it's not good either. Like, I know that I need to do that. So I think having a ritual or having something that's yours that you can do in the morning. If you're not a morning person, totally get it. But you've got to be able to do something that you enjoy, that you can take control of.
Yeah. 100%. Do you read much?
I do. I don't read as much as I would like to. But I do love reading.
I'm interested to know what's one book that you would either you've recommended most to people already, because a lot of people say, what's the best book? But I'm interested, I believe that the best books are the ones you recommend the most likely. So I'm wondering if you have a book that you've recommended a lot to other people, or if not, what is one book that has most shaped your views and perspective on the world? And it could be a property book, could be personal development, could be a biography, it could be whatever.
I've got a few. I love the book Smashed Avocado. That was great. I think it's because I'm a Melbourne girl, and it was quite I resonated with a lot of what she said. So I definitely recommend that book, and that's a great intro to the understanding the fundamentals.
It's a great primer, isn't it? It's a really great primer. Like if you're, it's a good book. If you don't understand property at all and you want to read something that gives you that kind of fundamental understanding of all the bits of it, it is a really great book from that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I have recommended it to a few different friends. I've actually posted it to a friend in Melbourne. I actually don't have that back. I'm not going to get that back. I've already read it, whatever. But yeah, no, that really good word, really good primer for property investment. Highly recommend that one. But total flip side, read a great book at the start of the year, which I actually also posted to a friend's dad in Melbourne. But it was called Stalin's Cellar, and it was an incredible book about, it's about wine, and it's about people that buy cellars and then essentially put that wine into auction. And it's a really interesting, and it's a Sydney-based book. The guy who wrote it lives in Sydney. And yeah, that was a really interesting book. It's a very worldly book. He travels around the world buying all these cellars. I thought it was really interesting. Something a little bit different. So
awesome.
Highly recommend. If you like wine, highly recommend.
If you like wine and reading, there's a great combo, right?
And then you can have a bottle of wine while you're reading. It's perfect.
Nice. What does success look like for you? Like, what are your goals in the next, 5, 10, 25 years? What are you aiming for? What do you want to be remembered for?
I think just being a good person. I think
what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you to be a good person?
Just be a nice, genuine person. Don't, there's just, can I swear on this? I don't know.
I swear all the time on this show. You can go nuts.
just no bullshit, just a nice person, just a reliable person, someone you go, oh, I know her, or I know him. Oh, they're awesome. Like, that's because we're not all going to, build bridges, do amazing. We're not all going to do incredible things, and that's okay. But I think if you're just a good, genuine person, I think that's, that I would like that if that was, towards the end.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to circle back on the towards the end piece in a minute, but I'm interested to know what advice, insights, or inside knowledge or secret tips you might give to someone who's thinking about working with Dashdot but might be sitting on the fence.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I just wanted to say, like, it's okay to be nervous. Like and it's a natural feeling to be nervous. And we do get a lot of clients come in, they go, I want to do something, but I'm just not ready yet. But, when is yet, sort of thing. And it's okay to feel nervous and feel a bit uneasy. But I think that when, we operate a little bit differently because, we're your team, you allocated a team, and where, you can lean on us as much as possible. And we're not there when you settle, we're like, okay, see you later. We're there forever. I mean, we get comments.
Life, basically, right?
Yeah, I get messages being like, hey, I've got this invoice about I've got to update these gutters. What do you think? And I'm like, oh, well, happy to help you out, and, we'll have a chat about it. Is it immediate? If we don't need to do it, let's wait for the wet season to be over and do it next year. I think that we're a little bit different with that. We are your allocated team, and we're here to make it as streamlined as possible.
I think that's really good insight, Lana, because I think you touched on two really, really interesting things there. Number one, it's okay to be nervous. Like it's totally normal. And I think a lot of people kind of sometimes feel like, I think there's maybe an element of shame, or they maybe feel a little bit stupid if they're like, well, why do I feel nervous about this? Or why is this stressful to me? Is there something wrong with me? Surely everybody else is just, charging forward. But it's like totally normal. Like it's a massive thing that's going on. And so I think that's really, really important. Yeah,
for sure. And I think that, and if people go, look, I'm a little bit nervous, I really don't know what I'm doing, that's totally okay. And we're here for you, and we're your team. And that's what I really love about Dashdot. I think that it's just the point of difference there.
Yeah. And I thought it was also like from an inside knowledge perspective, like from a view from the inside perspective, that's something that probably we don't really necessarily talk about, but it's one of the secret hidden benefits that all of our clients get is that ongoing. It's the ongoing team. I get I get text calls and emails and stuff from clients all the time. Sometimes that haven't bought a property with us for 2 years, that still we're checking in and like they're calling and just giving updates, asking for advice, stuff like that. I mean, got one this morning from a client who's like, hey, what about this? But having that ongoing team rather than just like, here's a property, catch you later, and knowing that you've got someone around, I think that does a lot for confidence, because one of the biggest problems with property investors is that it can be a lonely sport. Like a lot of people say business is a lonely sport, but property investing is a lonely sport as well. Like there's not that many people you can talk to about it. And not that many people you can feel like you have on your side. So yeah, no, that's cool. It's good. So, okay, I want to like fast forward a little bit then. I want to go off into the distance, into the future. And I want you to think really hard about this one. This is going to be deep. I want to really get down into the bones of it, right? So imagine it's your last day on earth, way off in the future, right? You've grown old and you've achieved everything you've ever dreamed of. Everything that you've wanted to achieve in life, you have done it. So whether that be achieving whatever wealth or building a family, whatever it might be for you, you've achieved all of it, bar none. You've achieved everything that you want in life. But for some reason, you are unable to take any of it. When you die, everything's going to disappear. It's all going to be just absolutely wiped from the face of the earth, like you were never there, right?
You don't take it with you.
Totally. But you're not even going to be able to leave it behind for anybody else, right? So you've achieved everything you want. So this, like that. Yeah. So this is the thinking paradigm, right? So you've over your life, so you're off in the distance in the future, you're 80, 90, however old you want to be, right? You've achieved in your life everything that you wanted to achieve, but on the day that you die, it's all going to disappear. That's it. It won't exist anymore. The only thing that you can leave behind is 3 truths, right? 3 simple truths that you would be able to pass on that would last forever, and everything else would be gone. What 3 simple truths would you leave behind for the world?
Oh, I don't like that, because that's the whole point in building wealth. That's like, why bother? Gosh, okay, 3 truths. I can't leave anything. So I can't even leave it to like the RSPCA. No one can't give it.
No. The only thing you can leave behind is these 3 truths.
Oh God. I think work hard. I think that would be one. Work hard. Live within your means. Well, I think that also definitely helps, and that helps you get ahead, and that ties into a lot of things. But the third one, can I say just be a good person? I don't know.
You can say whatever you want. This is you're on your deathbed, and you tell us whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they'd be my 3. That's a tricky one, actually.
It is a tricky one, isn't it? Because it really challenges you. Like, what? Hang on a second. No.
Yeah, it's like, there's no monetary handover or anything. And it's just, it's interesting.
Totally. No, good stuff. Well, Lana, it's been awesome to chat, and it's been awesome to kind of dig in and to get a few perspectives and insights for you. Is there anything else that you want to say or leave on the podcast before we wrap it up?
No, not really. I mean, I think that, we work with awesome people, and we're going to continue to do so. So I think that's, it's an incredible experience to be not only working in this, to have this job and being able to work and see people achieve their goals. But I mean, I see such awesome properties come across my desk, and I just get such a thrill when I can secure those properties for clients, and that just makes it, so much better, which is awesome.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Lana, thanks for everything you do. Thanks for the contribution you make, not only to our business, but also to the lives of our clients and the team that work with you as well. It's a real joy to have you on this journey and to be on this journey with you. And thanks for taking the time to be on the show. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks, guys.